Hello everyone, this is Poohhead189, and I am eating barbecue. But, yeah, that's not what this video is about. I just wanted to say that I'm going to be eating barbecue while I'm doing this. But this is the next hot takes video, probably the last one for a while until I make another community note where people can put in their hot takes. Ooh, man, sorry. I don't want to burp too loudly. It's the holidays, or a holiday. I can splurge. Anyway, that's some good root beer. So, let's get started. We have, these are going to be hot takes for Dragon Ball, and we are going to do it on a ranking system. I've said the last two hot takes, but I'm going to say it again, just for people who are just now starting to watch. Now, there are 5 rankings. It goes from perfect, like this clip.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
And then next it goes to pretty good, or you talk a lot of shit, but I see the vision, which is emphasized with this clip.
Son, you talk a lot of shit.
Yes, I do.
But you down.
And then next, when I see an opinion that is mid, we go to this clip.
I mean, it's alright, like...
Or I say, like, nah, that's okay. And then after that, of course, we have It's Looking Bleak. And there's no clip for that one, unfortunately. And then after that, we have what we can call utter dog shit, and that is for this clip.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
And various other versions of that clip. Anyway, with that being said, let's get started with the hot takes. We have 33 to go, and we also have one that I said I would get back to on the channel, which I forgot his YouTube name, but let's get to him real quick. There it is. Jeez, yeah, there's still... Yeah, so 34 is quite a bit. I mean, there's more than 34, but there's 34 people. All right, Inferno. Yeah, that was Inferno. Apologies, Inferno. Okay. Okay. So I think he has 6 or 7 more hot takes. Let's get to him. Okay, so Inferno Cleric 384, to continue his. Like I said I would, I'm a man of my word. Toei has always failed at power scaling, and Super is nothing new in terms of that. They have always had obscene jumps in power that made no sense and only served to make more tension and hype. Well, yeah. Toei certainly. I mean, like, Toriyama does too. It's just the level of how they do it was usually my problem. But yeah, no one ever said that there weren't those problems earlier. At least I haven't said that. Yeah, okay. That's an alright. I'll say it's pretty good. Okay, Goku's portrayal in the DBS manga isn't as good as people say it is. Well, yeah, I agree. He randomly swaps between being his old Z self and being a complete idiot on a whim. Yeah, that's perfect, definitely. He's usually an idiot. Goku had such good character development from a maturity standpoint and a morality standpoint in Dragon Ball, the original series, and then they just regressed. Vegeta regresses sometimes, well, more than a few times, but that's a part of his character. Oh, I got a text. I will not be looking at that right now. Okay. Speaking of, that aforementioned problem was there starting from the Saiyan saga. It was just less pronounced than it is now. Okay, that's what I was saying. I would argue that Goku really fell off around the Buu saga, where he, again, randomly swaps from being a confident mastermind to an idiotic fight junkie, depending on what Toriyama's feeling like. You know what, screw it. Saiyan Cell Saga Goku is actually fine. Buu Saga Goku is the overrated idiot who tries to get 2 kids he barely knows to protect the Earth. GT Goku's marginally better in terms of intelligence, but the Super 17 debacle is enough proof that he's not as smart as he was before. I just got finished watching GT. I don't think, like, literally today, actually. Today I just got finished watching it with my team and friends Dave and Clearin, and at the end of it, right when we were done with Hyperbeam, which is like this joint watching site, who the freak keeps texting me? Sorry. Right at the end of it, we got back in Discord, and I was like, so guys, what do you rate GT? And Dave was like, you really want to start a fight? And I was like, what? We just got finished watching it. Of course, I want to ask what you guys rate it. I was like, you saying that it's going to start a fight immediately is a bigger implicator of that you think. Like I was saying, like yeah, that's more damning than me just asking. But sorry, that's my puppy. I think Goku. We just got finished watching the sub. I think Goku was a little bit dumber in GT than Z, at least at the end. You can definitely question Goku's decision to have the kids take on the role of heroes. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. The Super 17 thing was also crazy. Manga Zama. I'll say that's an all right take, because like I'll say it's pretty good. That's a pretty good take. I'll say it's not perfect. I do think Buu Saga Goku was mostly good, but there was you can definitely question him. Okay. Manga Zamasu and Jiren aren't very good villains either. Manga Zamasu is just a hollow shell in comparison to his anime counterpart, while Manga Jiren is meh, but he feels a little inconsistent with the motivations that both Jiren share. I'd say that's pretty good too. I don't think Jiren had great motivations. One thing that I do think that they did really well with Jiren is to showcase just how powerful he is. Like, they did a really good job hyping him up. Sometimes that's not the case with certain villains, but with Jiren, like, when he started fighting for real, I was like, I remember thinking this when I was watching it, I was like, is the ring going to be able to handle it? Okay. Movie 8 Z Broly is a good villain, arguably more so than his DBS counterpart. Yeah, I say it's pretty good, yeah. Speaking of, Ben Shimada is probably the most underrated voice actor in the franchise. Oh, you mean the guy who does the sub Broly? Yeah, I think he is really good. Also, Movie 8 Broly is Galaxy level, but not for the reasons people think. Yeah, I agree with that too. The Evil/Shadow Dragon saga is praised as a brilliant concept because that's all it has, a brilliant concept. Some of its villains, cough cough, Sin Shenron, are nothing but disappointments, almost at the level of Jiren. Yeah, I agree with that. Like I just said, I literally just got done watching GT, and so the last 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half, we were watching the Shadow Dragon saga. Yeah, a lot of them were more like villains of the week, kind of silly rather than actual villains. People wouldn't hate Caulifla as much if she didn't go Super Saiyan so easily. Either way, Goten and Trunks already did that stuff, which really goes to show the hypocrisy surrounding Caulifla. In fact, I'd argue that Vegeta having Super Saiyan in the beginning of the Android Saga cheapens it, at least manga-wise. You're telling me that Goku got from the form with pure heart, and yet Vegeta has it despite still being a jerk? Well, in the manga, Vegeta did say it was because he was pure evil. Although I will say that the anime, I think, probably has it correct if Vegeta wasn't pure evil. I bet that Vegeta did have a moment of despair, and for a brief moment, he had the pure heart, because he really just didn't care anymore. And then that is what unlocked Super Saiyan and sparked it, and then he could just use it even when he wasn't really pure of heart. Like, I think it was just a moment, because we've all been super depressed, and then we've just thought, like, wow, nothing matters. Or like, wow, maybe everything I thought is wrong. You know, and yeah, I think that might have been what happened to Vegeta if he wasn't pure evil, which he could have been at the time. It's later when he changes. Okay, maybe it's just me, but I feel like the Ten Shinhan glazing is solely based off of his portrayal in Z and not what he had in the first half of the manga, which sucks. Well, no, I've already, that's looking bleak. I've already made a whole video on what I think Tien's best moment is, and that is in a tournament that he lost. So yeah, no, I think, no, I don't agree with that. I mean, like, he has way more wins in the early part. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, his tri-beams are super impressive, but before that still. Super Saiyan Blue is a good idea with bad execution, at least in the anime. I'd say it's alright. Also, in terms of writing, Daima Super Saiyan 4 is worse than Blue. Yeah, I agree with that. Quite a few situations of DB fans don't watch the show are particularly attributable to the writers misunderstanding DB concepts as well. Yeah, I agree with that. Raditz is boring, and him being more involved with Goku defeats the point of the arc. Oh, I don't understand what you mean here. Oh, so you think Raditz is boring, and you think that he shouldn't have had that brotherly connection to Goku. That's what I'm thinking you mean. Sorry, I don't know which you meant for that one. Kikuchi and Falconer scores are both reasonably good, but the former fits the anime more. I think that's a pretty good take. I think that they both fit the anime quite well, but I also think that both are good. Nozawa is an acquired taste, but ultimately overhated. I mean, do you have a better idea for Japanese Goku? I think that's pretty good. Like, Nozawa is an acquired taste to non-Japanese, or probably even to some Japanese people. Nozawa was an acquired taste. I think if it wasn't for the fact that she did it first, people would be less excited for her. But she is a good voice actress. You know, whether you think she does a good job with adult Goku, doesn't take away the fact that she knows the character very well. And she knows how to service the character in different ways, in different situations and contexts. So, yeah, Nozawa, but she is an acquired taste to a lot of people. And that's not a bad thing, to be an acquired taste. That doesn't mean that she's bad at what she does. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know if I have a better idea for Japanese Goku. I will say that I would have liked the other members of the Sun family and Turles to not be voiced by her. Even diehard sub-fans are like, this is getting kind of weird. When like in Super, when Goku and Gohan are training together, and probably in the Time Chamber too, when they're training together, you're just like, and like you hear them both doing that, and it's just copied voices from Masako Nozawa, and you're just like, maybe they should have gotten a different one. And Turles, I was so looking, when I first saw the sub for Tree of Might, I was so looking forward to see who would voice Turles. Because I was like, oh man, Turles sounds so menacing in the ocean. I wonder who they'll get. And then it was Nozawa, and I was like, oh, well, all right. But that doesn't mean she's bad. Like I've been saying, she is very good at what she does. Gohan's situation of stop training, then power up again is the worst outcome for him. Either find a way for him to balance both or retire him completely. Yeah, I mean, it works a few times, but then eventually, yeah, they should, yeah. Agreed. DB power scaling has the classic power scaling problem of people wanking DB way beyond where it should be, alongside a problem of people insisting on positions that aren't based on fact at all. Take a shot every time you see someone say that Movie 8 Broly equals Cell because Movie 8 came out during the Cell Saga, and Broly fought Cell Saga characters, even though movie scaling is different. The worst part is that some people in the second group are knowledgeable DB fans, IRC, quite a few people who think like this in the Kanzenshuu, so they end up having more ethos. Yeah, I'd say that's, yeah, I think, I will say that's pretty good. I think most of these are pretty good. Okay. All right. Thanks, Info Cleric. I appreciate that. All right. Now let me go back up to the 33 that are left. Actually, let me check my friggin' phone. Who wants me? Oh, then all the ladies. Wait, where? Oh, there's my phone. Oh, it's fucking Lethal. Really? And my friend Mackie. They were texting each other. We're in a small group thing. Okay. Okay, so the last one in the last hot takes, it was Bulma is insufferable and a hoe. So after that, Sandy, I am making a video. All right. Elijah King, 1801. There were 3 episodes of OG Dragon Ball, not in the manga, that could be considered filler, where Goku meets Tien before the tournament, and another where he travels to a demon world to fight monsters. These are the best episodes in the entire franchise. Damn! That is a hot take. I do like them a lot. Not just as a Tien fan, but like, those are good episodes. I like those. I'd say it's an alright take, because like, I like them, but I don't think they're the best in the entire franchise. But, like, they're good. They are good. You could question, like, the validity of why they made them if he's going to meet Tien, like, 10 episodes later, or the demon stuff, like, but still, they're good. Okay. Daz 9. Akira Toriyama being forgetful is understandable when you look at his archives: Dragon Ball, Dragon Quest, Sandland, Dr. Slump, Chrono Trigger, a laundry list of one-shots, and so on. Most Dragon Ball fans don't even bother to look at his other works. That's true. So when Toriyama says he forgot a character like Launch, it's understandable. Also, I don't understand why certain fans make a big deal that Toriyama forgot about Launch when to begin with. She's like Bacterian, the stinky guy. They have their gag gimmick and they're charming. That's it. What purpose would Toriyama need to bring her back into Z or Super? Okay. You had me until that. Launch was around a lot more than Bacterian. He remembered her for all the tournaments and for showing up at Kame House, and then suddenly he doesn't. So there was something. It's not nearly as understandable as Bacterian. But yeah, I agree that, yeah, he has a bunch more work than Dragon Ball. I've always sort of championed that people should read Toriyama's manga theater. So yeah, I agree with that. So I'll say, with that last part, I'll say it's all right, but it was pretty good. Okay, Nico Alexovich. Gohan should have killed Boo. That's an all right take. A lot of people have that take. Oob should have his own series with Goku as a mentor figure. That would be kind of cool, actually. That's pretty good. But all this is impossible since people can't let go of Goku. Yeah. I'd say most of these together are pretty good. Okay, Anthony 7MH. Nam or King Choppa. And then they post 3 roses. I will say yes. Ooh, okay. Everyone, stop it. No one interrupt. Okay, my best friend forever, Clearin. My friend of the channel. My ride or die. My one and only. Okay, people who think, quote, power levels only showed up to the show to show that they don't matter, are just misinterpreting power levels due to their hate of them. Power levels always matter. It wasn't that scouters and power level readings were unreliable. It was that the villains weren't used to characters that could suppress their power. In most cases, a higher power level tends to win out. Even with Goku and Piccolo versus Raditz, Raditz is first weakened by Gohan, who got a huge power level boost and finished off by a move with another huge power level boost. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, people who say that power levels only showed up to show that they don't matter is silly. I don't think I've ever seen... I might have seen that before, but I trust you've seen it because, like, you look around for stuff like I do. Like, you've been in the Dragon Ball fandom as long as I have, so it's like, at least online. So yeah, I trust that you've seen that plenty. Okay, there are very rare exceptions, but power levels matter in the sense that it's just saying the stronger fighter wins, which always was the case before Scouters and has continued to be the case after Scouters. Yeah, true. Ironically, the problem with power levels were that they were too reliable. When you know the numbers for characters before they even fight, that alone tells you the result of the fight. It doesn't even go away when Scouters go away thanks to key sensing, and every time a fighter is proven wrong, it's purely because their opponent was holding back. I mean, not every time, because, like, you know, unless I'm misunderstanding what you mean, like, androids 19 and 20, you know, sensed Vegeta and Goku fully powered up, and they still lost. But I think in general, I do agree. Yeah. I think the first 2 paragraphs that you said, perfect. I think the last one I'll say is all right. But yeah, everyone thank Clearin for adding his hot takes. He's my bestie. Nice. Okay. All right. CED UE6WW says, I would have been totally cool with Dragon Ball ending after Goku beats Piccolo Jr., even though I'm a Vegeta fan. There's so many good things about it, like Goku finally winning a tournament just by the skin of his teeth, Goku becoming the strongest being on Earth, and beating the reincarnation / son of his greatest enemy, aka Green Satan, Goku becoming Chi-Chi's husband, the fight itself being the most over-the-top and crazy display of power that laid the groundwork for the fights in Z, and how Goku not only improves on his master's technique with the Super Kamehameha, but also uses it in a unique and unorthodox way, a la his feet. That's perfect, yeah. Like, I'm glad Z is around, but that was the perfect ending. It was somehow, like, I know Toriyama didn't plan it, but it tied everything together so well. So that's perfect. Okay. Crispy1470. Vegeta should have stayed dead after the Frieza saga. Oh, damn. While I like what they do with him in the Buu saga and his future son is one of my favorite characters, I think he should have stayed dead, at least in regard to Z. I really liked his arc in the Frieza saga, and I loved where it capped off with his death. Not fully redeemed, but dying a hero and helping his former enemies against a shared threat. I'm not a fan of him in the Cell saga. He's a huge asshole who only causes problems, and he came off to me as more annoying than anything else. He has his moments, but I think he peaked in the Frieza saga and should have stayed there. That's either pretty good or perfect. I don't want to say that, yes, yes, I definitely would have liked him to have died there, but at the same time, it's like, just like how Goku beating Piccolo is a perfect ending to Dragon Ball, Vegeta dying on Namek would have been the perfect ending for Vegeta. I agree with that. Okay. Anton B. Corriente Lopez 2735. Alright, the Potara fusion was a mistake in my opinion. What I mean is, we had already been introduced to Super Saiyan 3, which could have been the form to save the day in the Buu saga. It didn't because Goku didn't want to. Then we have the fusion dance, representing the biggest hope as Gohan is out of commission for some time, training elsewhere. We're given yet another potential saving grace in the Z-Sword training and later on Elder Kai's potential unlock. None of this does the trick. We're introduced to yet another form of fusion that has some downsides but also gets retconned twice, IRC, maybe more. To link back to my first point, we already had the fusion dance. True, in theory, it would take some time for Vegeta to learn it, and I think the way he learned it in DBS Broly is pretty BS, but yet another fusion method that ends up being so convenient doesn't feel right. Particularly after introducing another method to achieve something similar in the same arc. I exaggerate a bit here, but it's like if the Kaioken was introduced and then the very same saga we also got Super Saiyan, an objective upgrade. Yes, one is a technique in the other form, but the mechanical effect in practice is what matters. Yeah, I agree with you, and I see your analogy too. I agree with your analogy as well. But I will say that someone who said, I forgot who said this last hot take, the last video, but like they said, like, it is weird that, like, they're glad that Super Saiyan 3 didn't beat Buu because of all the extra content we got. And I feel the same way about the Potara earrings. I mean, it kind of could have just used fusion, like the dance, but at the same time, it also brings us the Vegeta versus Gogeta arguments and all this kind of stuff. And what would Goten and Trunks' Potara fusion be like? And yeah, we don't know. So yeah, but I'd say it's pretty good. Krillin is at fault for Cell, and I'll die on this hill. Bulma and Co. made the plan, created the remote, and gave it to Krillin, only for him to fuck up at the last minute. Vegeta was a wild card the whole arc and was out for himself until Cell beat his ass. Krillin, however, literally didn't stand on business despite having full knowledge on what to do, and Bulma had given it to anyone who was compliant. They would have mashed that shit. I mean, you guys already saw my thoughts on that. So I'm not going to say that it was Krillin that was the problem, really. But he was one of the top people with the problem. Like, yeah, does Krillin have... did we expect better of Krillin? Yeah. But at the same time, you know, it's a rough thing to do. I'll say it's alright. Okay, Manumon2723. End of Z isn't as bad as a lot of people say it is. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty good. Kyler Rayner 9167. Kami, I truly believe, is at fault with Cell absorbing the androids. As the Guardian of Earth, he sensed the presence of Cell even before the others did. He even recognized and understood that Cell was significantly stronger and more dangerous than 17 and 18. Well, he thought it might be. But he also didn't know. I still think that, you know, the person who's most at fault is Jiro and Cell themselves. But, yeah. Kami did make one of the many mistakes others made. But he didn't know what Cell was, and we know he didn't know because when Kami fused with Piccolo and Piccolo goes down, he's surprised at what Cell can do. So yeah, I wouldn't say he's as fault as like Vegeta or 17, but maybe he's right there with Krillin. Yeah. Okay, Sam Brozilla. Launch OG Dragon Ball was the very first true Super Saiyan. That's a pretty good take. Obviously she's not, but you know what I mean. Okay. Random account 9470. OGDB is mostly mediocre until Tien shows up, then it's peak till the end. Damn. No, I love the 21st tournament and the Red Ribbon Army saga, and even before that, the Pilaf saga. I mean, like, yeah, might not be the same kind of storytelling as the other stuff, but I like it. I'll say it's an alright take, because I get what you mean, but I don't agree. Okay. Gohan, quote, fans don't actually like Gohan. And then a month ago I asked, what does this mean? And they said, because I wanted to get it right when I made the video. And they said, in my opinion, if they really emphasized with the character, they wouldn't want him to fight. They would respect him having a peaceful life and not always worrying about training and combat. I think he is owed it. Ever since he was 3 years old, it was always training and fighting. He deserves a break, but they don't want to give him one. I think a lot of Gohan fans would rather him not fight. I think they like that he has a sedentary life. I'm one of those that kind of don't like it, actually, because I mean, like, he doesn't. I don't want him to always worry about training and combat, but like, I do think that he should worry a little bit because of the myriad of threats that there's going on, and forgive. I don't want to. That sounds sarcastic. I was gonna say forgive me, but like, I like my stories with conflict. I like characters, and that doesn't mean that I like. There's a character that I might not mind if they're beaten up or if something bad happens to them. That doesn't mean I don't like the character. I can still love the character. I just like that they are now in conflict. But I know what you mean. I'll say it's all right. All right, Anton B. Corriento Lopez. Oh, they already did this one. 2735. Perhaps not the hottest take. Most people I've talked to agree on this. GT had great ideas and concepts, but generally awful execution, and the Baby Saga was great on paper. Yeah, I agree. I don't think the execution was that good, but the concepts are really good. That's pretty good. 9ZXN. Hi, Poohhead. I hope this finds you well. Aw, thank you. I don't think Gine was sent to hell. This isn't to say I think she went to the same heaven as Goku, though. A lot of people treat it as if she went through Earth's afterlife system, but that wouldn't make sense as she died on planet Vegeta, and it's heavily implied that different planets have their own afterlife. Even in Z, King Yemma was like, hey, kill Frieza on Namek, please. I don't want to deal with that loser, implying another guy would have to. I don't remember that, but maybe he did. And likely as a result, different criteria to get into heaven based on culture and species. Gine was a saint for Saiyan standards, which aren't very high, but that's beside the point. And it feels really wrong to send her to hell just because she was raised in an environment where she was taught that what she was doing was okay with no real outside perspective. Yeah, true. Under both the Frieza Force and the Saiyans, deserting likely meant death due to Saiyan's reputation in the galaxy. The fact Frieza could invade, etc., a lot of people say she wasn't strong enough to be a warrior, but I prefer to imagine that she just didn't have it in her to do it since the statement was ambiguous. I think Caulifla getting Super Saiyan is incredibly overhated, and if you dislike... for the Gine thing, I agree. I think Caulifla getting Super Saiyan is incredibly overhated, and if you dislike it, you should also dislike Goten and Trunks getting it, because at least Caulifla was being trained by someone who had it to specifically attain it. Sure, she got it fast, too fast in my opinion, but so did Goten and Trunks by just doing it as a gag. I guess, in my opinion, Caulifla getting it was actually overall more deserved. Of course, I'm not saying it was well done or well written, and neither am I defending it as a good writing, but my god, it was not the end of the world. Some of you need to chill the fuck out about it and form your own opinion rather than what a big YouTuber said. I agree, that's perfect, actually. The Universe 6 Saiyan should have been slightly different, even just a different type of tail, different hair color, really anything the Namekians got to be a bluish color in Universe 6, so why are the Universe 6 Saiyans all just regular-ass Saiyans without a tail? If I showed someone a picture of adult Gohan and Kaba side by side and didn't tell them the two are from different universes, you'd have no idea one is a half Saiyan from Universe 7 and the other is a full-blood Saiyan from Universe 6. Yeah, it's true. You just assume one is less muscular because they don't exercise as much or something. There should be more visual distinction. At most, the muscles could be an indicator, but that could just as well mean Tarble is a Universe 6 Saiyan, which just isn't true. Just giving them different animal tails would immediately give them a different visual identity, but again, literally anything would have worked. Even their Super Saiyan looking a bit different would honestly be fine at the ATP. That's all I want to say. I just wish the Universe 6 Saiyans had more to separate them outside of Peaceful and No Tail, which is basically Universe 7s at this point, because I found them incredibly interesting in a concept with bad execution. I'm liking your comment. Most of everything I've heard you say is perfect. I'm giving you the clip.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
And I hope me reading all this finds you well as well. Thank you so much. Okay, Clay Chap stuff. Hot take, the power levels are worthless. What the damn point of them if every fighter has to hold back to not blow up the planet? Hot take 2, the entire franchise versus DBZ is stupid too. It's the anime equivalent of my dad can beat up your dad. Even more pathetic as dads are a real concept, as far as I know. Oh no. Okay, power levels are worthless. What's the damn point of them if every fighter... Well, the point is that it matters between the characters. Even if they can all blow up a planet, that it still matters on who's stronger for the fight. So I think that's kind of bleak, but the entire franchise versus DBZ is stupid. By the entire franchise, do you mean the rest of Dragon Ball or like other franchises? I agree that other franchises, the comparisons, that's kind of dumb, yeah. I only do it if someone does it first. Like if someone brings it up in a conversation I'm in, then I'm like, well, I mean, I guess we can compare it, but like I wasn't going to do that. Okay, but yeah, I agree with that last one. Okay, Dis 6 Reet. If the Ocean dub cast did Kai, it would be the best dub ever, hands down. You might be right, maybe. It depends on... The latter half of the Ocean dub wasn't that great, but maybe it was due to certain conditions in the studio. If they had the same passion as they did in the first 53 episodes, then goddamn, that would be amazing. Okay, pretty good. Fernando ZPT. Toriyama's artwork was so full of life. Perfect. Perfect, down to the last minute detail. Not the biggest hot take, but I agree. Okay, The Man 5921. I think putting underage Bulma in a bunny suit was a bad move. They can easily fix this by making adult Bulma wear a bunny suit, and yet they don't. I mean, but to Toriyama, she was adult. To Toriyama, 16 is adult. And do you mean like in a like because it like in what context? You mean like what do you mean? Like other than the I don't know. Are you just looking for a safe way to goon? Because like I've said before, I don't think it really matters with a fictional character as long as they look and act like an adult, like they are meant to be portrayed as a matured person. But like Toriyama specifically gave her the age of 16 because in Japan that is a young adult. So like it would be weird for Toriyama to look at America and be like, "What's the age of consent over there? Oh, that? All right, I'm gonna write that down." Like, yeah, he just did it because he wanted her to be a young adult, and that is what that is in Japan. But like that's why he drew her as a young adult, and then just put the 16 there because that is what it is for their laws. I mean, what you should question Toriyama about is why did he put Chi-Chi when she's 12 in that fucking outfit? Bulma in Japan is of age. Chi-Chi in Japan is not. So that's I think that would be the question that we should be asking. Yeah, so who is that guy, 906? Goku and Bulma would have been a better pairing than Goku and Chi-Chi or Vegeta and Bulma. I agree. Like I am not against Goku and Chi-Chi. I quite like them, but yeah, I am a Goku and Bulma shipper. Everyone knows this. Okay, 2, the Dragon Ball anime should have ended at GT. So you mean they shouldn't have made Super or Daima? That's hard to say because like it has revived the fandom a bit, even if I think those were kind of silly. But I'll say it's all right. I don't think GT was like God's gift to anime either, but still. 3, Super Saiyan Blue is a useless transformation. The series should have explored Super Saiyan God before moving on to Ultra Instinct. They should have called Super Saiyan God Saiyan God, and then Super Saiyan Blue Super Saiyan God, in my opinion. I'll say it's an alright take. Super Saiyan 3 should have never existed. It undermined Goku versus Majin Vegeta. No, I think it should have existed. I can see what you mean, though. I'd say it's kind of bleak, though. Piccolo should have gotten an outfit change after he merged with Kami. Not really a hot take, but my dude's been rocking the same outfit since his first appearance. Give him some new drip. Okay, I agree with that sentiment, but like even with the same outfit, he looks fucking baller. You have to admit, he looks baller. Even, like, just regular. And, like, after he got that, what would he have changed to? He can't change to Kami's stuff, because, like, that's not as cool as Piccolo's regular stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, maybe you're right, but, like, I do like Piccolo's regular outfit anyway. It's hard to say. Okay, Tsunaki 1000. Everything about Frieza was just a copy of King Piccolo, and he was way better and way more involved in the story and backstory of its characters. Oh, you mean King Piccolo was? I don't think everything about Frieza was. I mean, like, yeah, they had a fair amount of similarities. Just like Moro does with King Piccolo. I think Moro was more of a blatant sort of copy, even though I don't think he was a technical copy, though. I'll say it's an alright take. Okay. Richarded Gel. Richarded. Peaked with the Nameks and Frieza saga. Namek Vegeta is best Vegeta. True. Dragon Ball Super is fanfiction. Well, that's not true, but I know what you mean. OG Broly is the OG Darth Vader to Super Broly prequels Anakin Skywalker. I can kind of see what you mean. King Cold was a wasted character. Yeah, kinda. I mean, he did serve his purpose, but, like, he could have been used more. Roshi should have a perm. Oh, should have a permanent death during King Piccolo arc. I thought you mean you should have a perm. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I don't know about that. I mean, he did have a really good death scene. I agree with that. But I'm not sure about that. Saiyan Saga at the latest. Oh, for when he dies. I mean, maybe if he trained and then fought against the Saiyans and then died, that would have been a good death too. I would have preferred if Vegeta killed Yamcha during the Saiyan Saga instead of Cyberman. Yeah, I would have rather Yamcha died from a Saiyan than a Cyberman, yeah. Dragon Ball would have benefited more than Z did from the filler Cutter Kai edit. No, I love the filler in Dragon Ball. Post Super Saiyan forms, including 2, are redundant ripoffs of the OG moment. 3 and 4 at least offer an aesthetic change to give the feeling of progression. Bardock, father of Goku, was the best. Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan 4 do at least offer an aesthetic change. I agree. It does give a feeling of progression. Bardock, father of Goku, was the best movie followed by the first 2 Broly movies. I don't agree with that, but I do think they're all 3 good. Okay, thanks for the hot takes though. Slushy Saturn, Kid Buu is the worst Buu. I don't hate any Buu, but I guess I do agree with that. Lee JJ1JS, Dragon Ball Super isn't a continuation of Z, but of the TFS dub only way to explain how dumb Goku is in Super. I mean, Toriyama didn't watch TFS, so that can't be true, but I get what you mean. Okay, Vegeta carried DB... Oh, this is Tits Bitch McGee 7502. Vegeta carried DBZ. He's kept the story flowing ever since he was introduced. You love to see him lose, and you love to see him win. This is looking bleak. Carried DBZ? No, man. Vegeta is a major part. He's a solid part, but he's not. No. He didn't carry anything. Super Broly is significantly better than Z Broly, and Frieza is the second greatest villain ever created in fiction, next to Emperor Sheev Palpatine. I don't know if Super Broly is significantly better than Z Broly. I like them both. Frieza's second greatest villain. I do think Frieza is a great villain. I don't know about him coming back, but, like, yeah, he's a great villain. I do like the addition of you adding Palpatine at the end, too. So I'll say it's an alright take. Rise of the Goober, the entire plotline with Yamcha supposedly, quote, cheating on Bulma is complete and utter nonsense. Yeah, Yamcha didn't cheat on Bulma. All she had to do was connect the dots and remember that her boyfriend is a famous baseball player, which naturally attracts many women. The relationship was so painfully salvageable, and it's obvious Akira only wrote this dumpster fire of a plotline to add an extra Saiyan into the mix. People tend to forget that Yamcha being a famous baseball player is filler. It's not, like, in the manga, but... yeah, it was a dumpster fire plotline. Trunks would have been hardcore as a human. That's true. In fact, call me crazy, but I honestly believe Trunks would have significantly more compelling as a human rather than a hybrid Saiyan and still be able to complete this mission of seeing both his future and the present timeline. Now tell me, what was stopping Toriyama from writing Yamcha's badass human child other than having no balls? Damn. You talk a lot of shit, but you down. In fact, I'll give you the clip.
Son, you talk a lot of shit.
Yes, I do.
But you down.
Okay, so, yeah. Updog in the flesh, hey buddy. Fusions are extremely played out and have to come to the point of being extremely boring for me. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I don't hate fusions, but they don't catch me the way they do other people. If Kid Trunks and Goten were raised in the same way, Goten would stomp Kid Trunks. If it is due to Goten's rural life and lack of training that he has lost to Kid Trunks in the World Tournament, for example, you're probably correct. Trunks, while showing incredible feats such as landing a hit on Vegeta and landing a sucker kick which sent Fat Boo flying, doesn't show as much fighting and combat potential as Goten. Although Goten receives training from Gohan, Kid Trunks arguably undergoes more rigorous training with Vegeta. I mean, that's probably definitely true. Alongside the aid of the gravity chamber. Thus, while the series shows us Kid Trunks is in more vicious positions than Goten, Goten's ability to keep up with Kid Trunks indicates his promise as a fighter with natural, inherent talent that are apparently not in the least bit inferior to Gohan. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. You know, I wasn't thinking that earlier, but you made good points. I agree with that. Patty J426. Oh, hey, it's PJ. Most Dragon Ball fans fail to understand the core of the series. GT ironically went back to the roots of what made Dragon Ball kick off some of its most well-known things. Going into adventure, but ultimately it failed. Cell Saga is overrated. Wait, most Dragon Ball fans fail to understand the core of the series. GT ironically went back to the roots of what made Dragon Ball kick off some of its most well-known things. Yeah, going on to a adventure, but ultimately it failed. Cell Saga is overrated, and Buu Saga will always be the best end for the series. And yes, PJ, when he made this, was a patron. I don't think he's a patron right now, but yes, thank you, PJ, for being a patron for a bit. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think, GT did try to go back to the core of the series. And Cell Saga is overrated, but I think it's still overhated too. I don't agree that the Buu Saga is the best. Well, will always be the best end for the series. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Not bad, PJ. Okay, Dark216. Yamcha and Buu should have been the tournament of power over Roshi and Frieza. Oh, well, definitely. Bringing back Roshi was one of the stupidest shoehorn decisions ever. Yeah, unfortunately. Resurrection F should have been about Cooler, and it would have been the perfect opportunity to make him canon. That's pretty cool, actually. The Frieza... Actually, yeah, that's perfect. The Frieza saga is the best saga in the franchise. I don't agree with that, but it is very, very good. No, pretty great overall, Dark216. Okay. Indo-Scorpion has a few. Cell lost all sense of threat and appeal the instant he became perfect. Well, I don't know about that. The Cell games were boring. He was much more entertaining and dangerous threat when he was imperfect. I mean, he was a more entertaining threat. Maybe, but I don't know about more dangerous one. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The Namekians produced the best warriors in the universe. Saiyans were weak as fuck. Well, that's not true. The only thing that could threaten a Namekian warrior was a mutant prodigy with exceptionally high power level for their race. But then overall, Namekians are the superior race. No. Namekians and Saiyans were close to the same power level. Namekians through their mystical training techniques, and Saiyans through their naturally high battle power and savagery. But they were almost contemporaries in power. It's hard to say who is stronger, actually, in general. Oscar Willamot 926. Well, I'll say your takes are they're all right. Oscar Willamot 9296. Buu Saga Tien's way stronger than Krillin. Super nerfed him to make things even again. Yeah, I agree with that. Others don't. Full stop. My friends don't, but I agree with that. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. Glad to be here. Is the last hot take. One, as much as people refuse to admit it, but there hasn't been a single good arc/saga since the Buu Saga. Both GT, Super, and Daima all have zero idea how to use the DB cast to properly create a story. Damn. There are so many ways to include characters that affect the plot, but they don't. The few times they do, they break the plot, such as people like Krillin competing with God Key characters in the top of everyone surviving fighting Super 17 and the Shadow Dragons. Yeah. I think that's... I'll say that that's pretty good. Even today when we were watching GT, Clearin was just like the city, the final fight, somehow Hercule or Mr. Satan continued to survive all these blasts that were landing right by him, and then a bunch of buildings just would not go down either. Okay. 2. Bruce Falcon in the early 2000s rock and other dub audio changes, such as Goku's voice pitch, were better for American audiences, and the retention, and I'm tired of sub purists pretending Americans would enjoy this. Sean's voice combined with the more lean towards rock played much better for DBZ tone as a whole. Watching the original Broly movie feels way more in tone to what not only would resonate but overall make more sense for 6-foot-tall muscled men sounding as they do in the dub. I do agree with that. I do think that the sub is great. Yeah, I think that if only the sub was... Yeah, I think if the sub was released here and it was just the sub, people would not be nearly as interested. Yeah. Okay. 3. Finally, Goten and Present Trunks are the most useless and pointless main characters of the franchise, and their mere existence hurts the major themes of Dragon Ball from the very beginning, from meeting Master Roshi to the defeat of Cell. Every saga and arc had an underlying theme of the next generation stepping up to save the world from the past problems, although not only do Goten and Trunks squander this, but they drop the ball so bad that Goku decides to stay revived because they're just so unreliable. Not only that, but neither of these characters ever get meaningful character arcs compared to Kid Goku or Kid Gohan. Every time the Gotenks shows up, it drags the plot to a drag. He has not done anything of note besides delay the main antagonist. My biggest problem is that these are the most thematically squandered characters. I can see what you mean. I do enjoy them, and I'm glad that they are around, but yeah, I think that they are certainly squandered. We could use Goten and Trunks a lot more. I think a lot of people agree with that. So I think all 3 of yours together are this clip.
Son, you talk a lot of shit.
Yes, I do.
But you down.
You do talk a lot of shit, but I appreciate those views. Whew, okay everyone. That's all the hot takes. At least all the hot takes that I really have time for, and that's all the ones that are on the list that I cordoned off to be made for the hot takes. Yeah, that's great. This is pretty good. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And thanks so much, guys, for bringing in all these hot takes. We got through all of them. Geez, it only took 3 hours. Okay, everyone. Have a great one, and I will see y'all next time. All right. Bye-bye.